everybody, it's Boardman21 and today's build is going to be the Void SpellBlade, where we'll be stacking lots of fire auras in order to get more void damage with our chest piece. That's going to give us a base flat void damage, so that with Mana Strike and the lightning that it does along with lightning blast procs that we do, we'll be getting some decent damage from those. We'll be using Culver's Claim so that every time Mana Strike completely fills up our mana, it's converted into ward. We'll be using 2 rings of the third eye that can give us a percentage chance to get 15 ward on every crit, and with those together it means that we're going to be trying to do as many crits as possible with the right catalyst and with converting Mana Strike to not do any extra critical damage but have a huge critical base. We'll actually have 100% critical strike on both our melee, Mana Strike, and on all of the spells that we do, and this really allows for us to captivate on all of that ward. And there are times when we do hits on the more mob density that you have, the more ward you get. We'll have hits that give us 5, 6, 7,000 ward within just a couple of seconds, and that's going to be your survivability. We'll also have almost 100% uptime on lightning aegis, so we get some damage reduction. And other than that, it's just a pretty fun build when you get into melee range with Spellblade with Mana Strike, and you just cast down a bunch of lightning on every hit that you do. Now, there will be 2 versions of this in this video. We're going to do the Void first, and then when we get to the items section, I will switch the items around and tell you the non-void version, which just does a lot less damage, but it still looks cool, still plays the same, and still gives you a lot of ward. Alright, let's go ahead and get into the skills. For skills, we're running Mana Strike, Arcane Ascendance, Flame Ward, Static, and Lightning Blast. We have Mana Strike set up to give us as much mana back to cast Lightning, and so that it'll give us some ward on hit. We have 3 points in Arcane Blade to get plus 9 mana, 1 point in Mana Storm so that now Lightning will cast every enemy that we hit with Mana Strike unless we are out of mana, but you'll have so much mana being gained, and the lightning mana cost of 20 is actually reduced with the 2 points in Explosive Flurry and 2 points in Essence of Control, which means it only costs about 4 or 5 mana when you hit an enemy, and you'll get way more than that back every hit they do. We have 3 points in Swift Sap for some more attack speed, 1 point in SpellBlade to get some more area, 4 points in Mana Drain to get 80% more mana, 3 points in critical mana. Since we're always doing critical strikes, we're going to get 9 mana back on each critical strike that we do, and 1 point in critical rejuvenation so that our critical multiplier doesn't give us any extra damage when we do a critical strike, but we have plus 40% base critical strike, which means with the other 5% base melee that you get, you need roughly only 100% critical strike chance in order to crit all of the time, which is not very much. You can get that on just 1 or 2 pieces of gear. For Arcane Ascendance, we're using this to increase our damage output and to do even more crits by having Lightning Blast proc every second. Other than that, you don't really need it for anything. We have it set up to have less Mana Drain give us ward, but we have 5 points in Higher Plane for some more spell damage, 1 point in Superconductor so that Lightning Blast will proc every 2 seconds, 3 points in Closed Circuit to increase that frequency by 60%, so it'll be about every 1.4 seconds, 3 points in Slow Breathing to reduce the Mana Drain, 2 points in Power Sprint so that you'll have haste after you're done using Arcane Ascendance, 2 points in Cosmic Insight to reduce the cooldown recovery, and 4 points in Rebuff so that when we use it we get 240 ward instantly. For Flame Ward, we're using this for fire aura damage and to turn fire aura into cold damage. Lightning Blast will also be cold damage. We're also getting ward from it. We have 3 points in Dilation, 4 points in Infusion, 1 point in Fire Aura, 4 points in Eye of the Flame for 200% increased fire aura damage, 1 point in Frost Ward to convert it into cold, 4 points in Star Ward Defense for that 160 ward on use, and then we have 3 points in Desperate Defense, which is a percentage of your missing health granted us ward. Now, we are running full health right now. However, if you do not want to do the Void version of this and you want to do the regular version of this, we wear in Zanguius, and therefore we have low life, and when you have low life this actually gives you more. If you run this Void version, I recommend changing these 3 points out and putting them elsewhere. You can put them into less hit damage, you could get less 50% of what will be cold damage, 1 more point in Star Ward Defense for some more ward. You can put them wherever you want. For Static, we have this proccing Lightning Blast every time that it can whenever we're over 80 charges. we have 3 points in overcharge, 5 points in reverberation, 3 points in fulminating blows, 1 point in overload, 2 points in unstable, 5 points in diode, and 1 point in unlimited power. And then for Lightning Blast, we have this set up to get a bunch of ward on hit so that we get lightning gauges and so that it chains to the same enemy. We have 3 points in Storm Razor, 2 points in Lightning Attunement, 4 points in Chain Lightning, 1 point in Convergence, 2 points in Volatile Lightning, 3 points in Positive Protection, 2 points in Effluent Defense, and then these points probably do nothing, but we have 2 points in Arcing Power and 1 point in Closed Circuit. For passives, we have 25 points in the base Mage class, with 1 point in Elementalist, 4 points in Arcane Current, 5 points in Mage Flurry, 6 points in Arcanist, and 1 point in Rune of Winter, and 8 points in Scholar. We have 20 points in the Sorcerer class, with 8 points in Calculated Destruction, 10 points in Wisdom, and 2 points in Runamancer? Don't ask. And that was to unlock Arcane Ascendance. And then for the SpellBlade with 69 points, we have 5 points in Arcane Warden, 8 points in Infused Weapon, 8 points in Elemental Affinity, 6 points in Spellbound Weapon, 5 points in Spellweaver, 8 points in Prismatic Blade, 1 point in Shiver Armor, 5 points in Mind Slayer, 15 points in Triple Strike, 5 points in Mind Flame, and 5 points in Mind Blade. For items, the idols that you're going to want is to have a % chance to cast Fire Aura on Critical Strike, and if you can get plus spell cold damage, that is also good. We have some suffixes where we have spell damage leached while channeling. We're not channeling, so you can always find better suffixes. The +4 spell cold damage, which Lightning Blast and your Fire Aura are converted to cold. This is very useful. For uniques, there's a lot of uniques and they're all doing a lot of different things, and there's even more of them that you could wear but we chose not to. So the first unique that we have is Culver's Claim, so that every time our mana fills up, since we're using Mana Strike and generating so much mana, it makes sense that every time your mana is full, since it's always going to be full, to might as well convert it to ward and then start that process of filling your mana back up. And there's times where we can fill it up in a fraction of a second, and you're getting a lot of ward from this. Now, if you want to do more damage and you don't care about your defense, you can easily switch this out in the Void version for the Blade of the Forgotten Knight, and this is going to give you that 49 spell Void damage, which is huge for your damage, and you'll do a lot more damage with it. However, what we found is you just don't have the same kind of ward generation, and you tend to do way more damage, but you'll die much easier. We have the Shroud of the Cinders. Now again, this is what gives you the Fire Aura when you get hit, but what's more important is the percentage increase of void damage per Fire Aura. With the current setup that we have here, a lot of times it really depends on mob density, but even against bosses, as you saw in the teaser at the beginning, you can have 20 or 30 stacks of Fire Aura, and you can imagine if you have, in the arena 10 or 20 enemies, we can jump from 0 to 100 Fire Auras or 200 Fire Auras in just a matter of seconds, and that damage is just ridiculous, and you annihilate everything. If you do not want to run the Void version, you wear Enzanguius instead. If you run Enzanguius, you can also wear the boots, which will help get you a lot more base ward. If you're wearing both of those, you'll be doing alright. You won't need Culver's Claim. Again, at that point, since you're not doing Void, the Blade of the Forgotten Knight won't be used, but you can switch over to like a Scepter that has more lightning damage or a higher amount of adaptive spell damage, along with some good melee physical damage. For the other items, the 2 rings that are important are the Rings of the Third Eye. So every time that we do a crit, there's a 30% chance to gain 15 ward on that crit. We have 2 of those, which means with every crit we do, we're going to have a 60% chance to gain some ward. The nice thing about that is we are doing a lot of crits. Every time we use Mana Strike, which is a couple of times a second, it's going to crit. The lightning it does will hit every enemy. Every enemy that's hit with the lightning is going to be critically struck, and then you're going to have Lightning Blast being procced by 2 different sources, and the Lightning Blast chains, and it has 100% crit. So lots and lots of crits, and that's why you see our ward jump from 1,000 to 5,000 against, when you have a little like 5-10 mob density come in. That's what it is. There's just so many crits, you're proccing so many critical strikes, and you're getting so much ward. For the helm, we went the Bone Climber Barbouette, which gives you some ward per second. It also gives you a high amount of intellect and dex, which is going to allow you to have higher dodge chance, and it's going to let you do more damage. For our crafted items, we have spell critical strike chance, a regular critical strike chance, along with health and dodge on all of them. Obviously, with the cows, the most important thing is to get that plus 6% spell critical strike chance. That's base. You're going to want plus 6. You don't want plus 4, plus 5. You want plus 6. You don't care what the intelligence is. Make sure you get plus 6 before you craft on it. In this case, we got a plus 6 when we have critical strike chance and spell critical strike chance on it. That 48% regular critical strike chance is to help with getting Mana Strike to be 100% crit on melee. For our relic, we have Set Glancing Blow on the boots, and Set Glancing Blow on the gloves, as well as Set Glancing Blow on the amulet. And with those 4 pieces, that's what allowed us to get the 100% Glancing Blow. For our belt, we're using the Chain of Euros, and the reason we're using this is when we were running the low life, and even if you're not running low life, the nice thing about it is it converts all of what your potion would have restored in health now in ward, and it gives you 25% more. So you get about 500 ward whenever you use a potion. Actually, we can just use one right now. I'm at 160. One potion puts you at almost 600, so you get almost 500 ward with one potion use. That's super nice, and the nice thing about that is if you have full health or you see your ward getting down like under 1,000 and you're getting worried you might get, one hit at that point, you just pop a potion and it gives you a whole bunch more ward. And as long as you're constantly popping them, it means you can't really waste them. You're going to get a lot more drops of them, and it's going to allow you to stack your ward just a little bit higher. Alright, for the character sheet, you can see we're not running any protections. We only have 25% dodge. We have our 100% glancing below. We do have some critical strike avoidance, but that's due to a blessing. We have a blessing that's giving us 52%. We don't have that on any gear. And that's it. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys some gameplay.